Hello there, everyone and anyone and everyone. I apologize for the issue earlier, but we are now up and live. How's everyone doing this Friday? Today we'll be doing something a little different. We'll be working on a map I forgot also needs a couple adjustments. Hello there, Soda for Lunch, and anyone else currently watching. Last week, I did a little experimenting with Source 2, and I'll probably come back to that at some point soon. But um, I did notice that someone mentioned that there was a bit of an issue with this dead center map that I had released a bit ago, and I figured this would be a good opportunity to do a little bit more optimization. Hello, Raiko the One. So let's actually get into that now. So, welcome to Dead Center from Left 4 Dead 2. For those who may not have played the Left 4 Deads, this is the first campaign from the second game. It takes place in Savannah, Georgia, and it starts at a hotel, and then it works all the way over to a mall. And earlier this year, I had combined not only all of the different levels that make up that campaign, but I also added in some extra areas, some of which based on the skybox from the first chapter, and a lot of it original. These buildings, for example, are based on the ones from the skybox of the first map. But a lot of the detailing and road work comes from me. It's a gargantuan map, as you can see here. It is almost the entire size of the usable space in Hammer, and kind of approaches every single limit that Source has to offer. Uh, Not just brush limits, but entity limits too. Um, so we'll be fiddling around a little bit to try and make it run a little bit better. Oh, congratulations, Soda for Lunch. I'm glad to hear your stuff on Steam is doing well. Hope it keeps doing well. And so we shall, for this map, we're going to come over here and we're going to start doing something. Little optimization tip for those who are doing hammer work. Um, there is a little bit of an extra way to optimize things using a funk occluder. Uh, An occluder, as you might have heard of stuff like ambient occlusion, um, is basically a fancy way of saying that it blocks something else. And that's what we're going to be applying here since funk occluders block out props. So that will be very useful to put in props so that way they actually block others. So we'll do this here, make sure that it's not, yeah. As you can probably see even from this, the map is a bit framey in Hammer. That's because there is a lot here. And optimization will require putting even more down. Thank you so much, Combine Collaborator. I very much appreciate the Overwatch credits. Don't worry, I will be returning to Half-Life um, to include more Combine content. Hello there, Blage. I think that's how you actually say that. I will note that down sort of for lunch. I shall look into that Canals issue. I have sort of looked at that, but I know that folder is more for learning about how Left 4 Dead's mapping works. This is Gmod Dispresso clips. I do think though that there might be some interesting little behind the scenes stuff with that though, as I know some of the example maps that they give in some of the Hammer tutorial stuff is um, has some of that, has some cut content and early content, similar to how Half-Life Alyx has some cut and early content within its little tutorial and example maps. I will keep that in mind. So for lunch, thank you for the report. Any and all issues being reported do help in the long run. Um, I am still also working on other maps as well in the background. I just figured be good to go through some of the ones that need some extra work on them after the fact for the stream. Okay. These houses here that I've created props for, as these are actually props, come from Hard Rain. Figured since it's one of the few levels that gives bungalow and single family home, that it would be useful for um, this map. That's also where the enterable homes come in for this map, is Hard Rain as well. That is a clip that I accidentally grabbed and not the occluder. There we go. yes, there we go. Okay. And then we'll bring this back here. And then stop it from clipping out of the roof, just in case. And, and the last one for here. I know there was suggestions by others in other streams to consider actually doing more prop making out of level Geo, and I'm considering that for this level because there's a lot. There's a lot for this map, and that might help optimize a bit. Certainly, if I can merge props into singular props. So there's that done. It is. Whew, it's hovering just around 23 Celsius Combine Collaborator. Um, it's overcast, so it's sort of a humid 23. No problem, Dispresso Clips. Yeah, I can also uh take more of a look at that and provide more information over time on that. Um, yeah, there isn't as much stuff for the Left 4 Dead tutorials as there is for like the Half-Life Alyx stuff, but there is a couple things. And you're welcome, CTina. Um, Car 03's journey, 003's journey, for the last 20 years has been very inspirational and very interesting to learn about myself. Interesting soda for lunch. Yeah, that should be, wow, that's a lot of maps. Uh, yeah, that's very doable. Um, if you just strip out a lot of the scripting, yeah, that makes sense. It's a very impressive project. Um, I'm glad that you've stuck with it, and I hope you keep at it. I'd like to see how that all goes. Do you plan on doing the episodes as well? As for this, um, we should continue with the occlusion work for now while Soda for Lunch is answering that. Um, see if there's anywhere else to put down some occluders. Um, oh, yes. Separate from that, we do need to fix this, as I don't know how this became an issue. It's a plaster exterior. So we'll search for it among the plasters that we already have in the level. And what we can do is, huh, okay. Alright, we'll need to look at these options. Why? What is going on? Plaster exterior. Is there no base version? Just the bottom? I thought there was. You know what? It's time to consult an actual Left 4 Dead 2 level. This is streets. Thank you. Barbecue. I think that's how you say your name. I apologize if that isn't. Hopefully I can make it even better and run even better on your PC with this stream. Oh, sweet soda for lunch. That surprises me. That Water Hazard would be so popular. I hope the other chapters get as much popularity. I am already familiar with a lot of the beta maps. Um, I have them. Some of the beta maps. Unless you mean the fix up from Project Beta, I do not have that. Their attempt to fix up all the issues and make it a playable experience. I have not done that. Nice. Yeah, there's Portal games would be very ambitious. The Portal games have a lot of scripting, which would make it hard to move around certain areas. Um, I do wish you luck if you attempt that, but the episodes are a good shot. I've taken a look at some of them, and there's some really good sandbox potential there. Um, RTX on Gmod would be very interesting. Combine collaborator. I I'd also like to see how that work. It's this texture. Got you. That can be fixed. There we go. Like that. Another issue solved. Um, I'm just touching up a couple of missing issues. Um, Here and there. As you can see, there was a bit of a texturing issue here on the front of the hotel, so that's fixed now. I also want to repack the map with a texture that was apparently missing this whole time. Um, Eventually pack that back up, put it in. Um, and I've also been working on some what's called funk occluders. Occlusion, as you might have heard from the phrase ambient occlusion, is basically just has to do with blocking. Funk occluders in Source uh, block out other props, so it's very useful to put behind or in other big props like houses like that, which I have made props. Um, Actually, it might be a good idea to do some of these bushes and hedges here as well, so that way smaller things behind these bushes can also get blocked out. Um, yes, Joanna, so there's two versions of the beta. There's the mega build from Project Beta, which is essentially taking some of the more issues that came with that version of the engine and trying to fix them up so it's a bit more playable and a bit more intended to what Valve were thinking. And then there's the the games build themselves itself and some of the maps that were grabbed during the leak. The build itself, separate from the fixes from the mega build, is buggy. It is what I use for all my videos, as I want to show that it was buggy at the time when it was grabbed, and to show the hard work that Valve did um, from that point all the way to retail, and to have it be as accurate to what Valve had. Um, that's fair soda for lunch. I do, yeah. I've not seen much water hazard stuff in the workshop myself, so that does make sense. So a great job of filling that niche. Uh, Thank you, Fallout 76 boy. I gladly take the moniker John Hammer, along with knowing about being paired up with John Freeman. And thank you, Joanna. Uh, it's for me with a lot of the beta content. I'm personally would rather have it be as accurate to what Valve was doing and try not to gloss over or hide um, what they were doing, what was the state of things, and to make it seem like, they had a complete and total game just kind of ready there. Uh, and it was like there was no effort in making it be the way it was in retail. There was a lot of effort, there was a lot of work done, and I wanted to just show that um, as best as I can. Though it's really hard for me as a person on the outside to do that with what is public or available publicly. Which is why I try my best, and I try to arrange things in a chronological order as well, so you can see the process as to how things in the pre-release made its way into becoming what it is in retail. And there's a lot of stuff I haven't touched yet for Half-Life 2. Even though I've done some extra stuff in shorts, uh, there's still so much I haven't covered yet, and new stuff that I've found and I don't think has been covered yet because there is so much. So much was taken from Valve in the 2003 leak. Thank you, Fallout 76 boy. I hope through these streams I can make my work even better and even more enjoyable. Um, I did release the residential block maps that I had out that I've been working on stream for the past couple of weeks. All of that, which I had done on stream, should be updated in the game itself now, hopefully. I don't believe there were any issues with uploading all those updates, so yeah, if you want to see how some of that came to be, my previous streams will show you how that is. I do have a couple of tutorials, Joanna, on my channel about uh, Hammer. They're a bit old, and I would like to do more at some point. Um, but there are a couple on my channel, including if you're working on Source 2, I do have one on how to convert your Source 1 map into Source 2. Um, which is fairly easy process actually. They make it quite easy. You just need to if you've decompiled a map and want it to be in source 2, you do have to save the map at least once. Um, as for the work here, I actually don't know if an occluder is needed here. It might need it for these walls, though. Yeah. And with anything on, well, I can give a short little tutorial here in a sense, as this is something I've been saying on my streams a lot, but it's something that bears repeating, especially with any creative endeavor, is sometimes trial and error, despite it being a not fun process, is very important and is something that sometimes needs to be done because you don't know how something will turn out until you've already done it. You can prepare as much as you want, you can do as many things to prepare as you want, but sometimes you just need to do it. You just need to actually have made the thing and see how that works. Um, so even the stuff I do today, I will have to test out afterward in Gmod itself to see if things worked and if they worked as intended. Because sometimes with occluders like this, as well, they can cause just as much optimization issues as they can solve, because they do eat up into your RAM, as they are a real-time blocker, essentially. So, but starting here with just blocking out some of these walls can hopefully make some difference with some smaller stuff and maybe even stuff that is spawned in by the player. Hopefully making things a little bit better for those who like to add in extra things to maps. um, yes, Residential Block is a series of maps based on the middle-ish uh, Uprising maps in at the end of Half-Life 2. Uh, just released an update for that, and I did pull the name from those Metro Cop lines. The next plans for my map, for a new map, is going to be a Day of Defeat based map. Working on that on the side. And I kind of want to surprise everyone with that. I have some interesting plans for that. I know there isn't much Day of Defeat content on Gmod, which was pointed out by the person who originally suggested it, so hopefully that can also fill a niche. And that's a I get that reference, Slenderman. um, I will consider it, uh, Joanna, but I have no concrete plans for that at the moment. Um, hello there, Jeffinator. Good to see you too. This is this map, and for Jeff, and for anyone just tuning in, is my map where I combined all of Dead Center into a single playable sandbox roleplay-ish map for Gmod. And it also includes several custom areas. This so this does include the hotel at the beginning of Dead Center in Left 4 Dead 2 and goes through all of Liberty Mall at the end of Left 4 Dead 2. Um, it's all one playable space. It is approaching every single limit in Hammer, every single one that you can think of. I had to do numerous prop conversions, and it is still 7,613 brushes. It's almost 30,000 point entities with 200 unique textures. There are so many faces, in fact, for this map, for the brushes on this map, that it almost approaches that limit as well. There's 46,000, and I believe the total amount allowed is 47, 48,000. And also, fun fact: when it comes to, do you see the outline of the brush here in the top view? Uh, when you have a brush like this exterior set here also counts as more faces. So having odd geometry stuff like this can increase your face count, and I believe that is also something considered in this map's face total, though it doesn't report it in Hammer because that's an after the fact addition. So yeah. Um, so a lot of optimization is going to need to be done for this to make it even more playable. Speaking of which, more occluders. Occluders block out props, which is important when you're dealing with stuff this scale. And let me just grab this. So I can bring it over to a wall over at this parking lot. Occluders are good to put in other props because props themselves can't actually block anything in VViz. So by doing this, it can block things. But you don't want the occluder to be up and above the props, or else things get visually a bit odd. Hello, Chesit. Um, Joanna, there's not really any uh blocks to fixing things up with, or getting maps to work with the beta um through that hammer. Uh, there's a specific hammer for the beta build. Um, and there's not really many issues. It's mostly just assets that we don't have and probably shouldn't have, uh, given that they're in Valve's servers and in their possession, I should say. Um, it's just more of a fact that there's so many maps that getting them to work is a lot. Um, Yes. Technically, this is uh, four of someone else's maps, four of Valve's, that have been made a little custom. Uh, and in custom in a way that I have not seen on the workshop before. Indeed, Jeffinator. It's possible that Liberty Mall or the Postal 2 Mall inspired one another. Postal 3, I think, was supposed to be on Source 1. One of the Postals was, if not all of them are. So there's probably some cross ideation there. So Chezit, in if you want to hop around different places, in the views, if you hit view, after selecting an object, and then hit center 3D views on selection, you basically instantly teleport to whatever you selected. So now I'm on the other side of the map here, and then I can come back uh, to where I was before, like that. There is another option where you can center all the views on that object, but that mostly just works on the wireframe views like this. Set 3D view is the one that gets uh, this the textured view to go. Uh, as I said earlier, geeked green spheroid. I have considered it. I have no commitments for the moment, but I have considered it. If I do make one, I will make sure to announce. Um, Thank you. Bananoe. Apologies if I mispronounced that. Uh, this is Dead Center from Left 4 Dead 2, all merged into one map with some custom areas. Still got some. It's up on the workshop now if you want it, but it is a little. It does cause some issues with frames if your PC is a bit older. Um, as you can even see, my PC, which does have a 30 series card, is struggling to get this to be 60 frames as I move around. There is a lot here, so just be aware of that. I'm hoping that with some of the fixes today and other fixes I do in the future, that hopefully I can get more frames to people and make this a bit better optimized map uh, for everyone. Though I still don't think older PCs will be able to handle this just because there is going to be so much. There is a lot here. As you can see, it is almost the entire usable space in Hammer, and it is breaching almost uh, every single limit that even Gmod expanded to. Um, so there's probably not going to be many additional areas added to this map in its life. This will probably be the layout going forward. It'll just be more optimized and maybe some minor visual tweaks here and there. If if I'm able to pull them off within the limits that we have. Um, well, hopefully, with these bits that I work on Jeff and Nader, this will make it closer to hopefully you being able to run it. There will be some other things I have to do. I have learned, well, I've learned that there exists a method to do some prop merging, which might help in the future. But I still need to consult and figure out how that works specifically, as that's a whole new tech that I never knew about. The Riverside Vitamin Shop is not here in this Savannah-based map, Joanna, but I do. If I ever get around to doing another Left 4 Dead merged map like this, we'll see. Not all of the campaigns can be merged in the same this way, as there are some that are just too big. But if I were to ever do a Riverside one, if I were to, I'd probably put the shop there, as I think that might have been what Valve was intending with that. Hmm. Hello, Rome Evan. Um, I don't have any maps on Half-Life 1, but we maybe in the future I can just do a stream where I just take a look at some of those maps. See if I can get maybe a gold source, the world crafter, the WC, the world editor, hammer from then to work. At the very least, maybe I can take a look at the Half-Life source maps in this version of Hammer Plus Plus. I have considered it. I actually have had other people suggest Barbecue to put this map on um, the Left 4 Dead workshop. I think if I were to do anything with this map, it might need to be chopped up, as I believe this is hitting Gmod's limits, and those are much larger than the limits that Left 4 Dead's hammer has. Left 4 Dead is still on the 32-bit version of Source 1, I believe. So it's still kind of limited on what can be done on it, unfortunately. So I think, yeah, this would have to be a bit changed to um better fit that. We can also do a little visual edit here and there, though we'll see. Trial and error as always. Uh, might have to remove some of these extra balconies, depending on some of these limits. But you know, if I can squeeze out a bit of extra visual flair, might as well try. Um, ah, Another thing for those working on Hammer. Do you see these rings here in the wireframe views? These are essentially like fading distance. You can make props fade over certain distances within the world space to eventually have them just not be there. This can help with optimization depending on how you do the fading and what's being faded. Um, Obviously, you do have to balance that with the fact that if a thing is kind of central to and can be seen over long distances, that fading it out might not be a great idea. Um, there's also been some tests. I've seen some people say that having too many of these, having too many props that fade can also inadvertently uh, re-unoptimize a map, because the PC is having to kind of manage so many props at one time that it kind of defeats the optimization. Um, I haven't seen that personally, but I can see why that would be a concern. Um, so I think that might just have to be a situation dependent sort of thing. We'll get these balconies up here. We'll align it with the bottom of this window. There we go. And we'll do the same for here. And then we'll do the bottom of this here. Again, might have to come back, remove these. This was already reaching certain prop limits, um, so that might need to happen. But again, a little extra visual flair wouldn't be too bad. Another occluder opportunity here. Okay. We can do it with this brick wall here. And we'll shorten this up a little bit. Line it with the top. And there we go. And so now, to give an example of occlusion, these grass props, because they'll technically, say you're on this side with the tracks, and if you're looking in this direction through the occluder, technically because you're within the distance where this won't fade, it will be there. But with an occluder, hopefully it'll block that out, as well as these other grass bits here, to really have less things going on the screen. Yes, to go back to what I was talking about earlier, Barbecuity, yes, I'd probably have to split these up into separate chapters and then choose different areas to do survival maps with, because the map is just so big that Left 4 Dead 2 probably couldn't handle it as a single entity, even if it technically has less scripting and less uh, stuff in it compared to the individual chapters. Me too, Joanna. Uh, the Left 4 Dead maps have a lot of sandbox and roleplay potential. Um, just even looking at some of the ones I didn't do, stuff from Left 4 Dead 1, other stuff from Left 4 Dead 2, some very, very good opportunities here. Um, uh, other people have attempted to do the similar things to what I did here with this map in terms of like a pre-infection style, but I wanted to sort of do what I did for the Half-Life maps and branch it out to everything at once, and to really differentiate this from those and to um, kind of cover every single base all at once. And plus, uh, why not have all of them together to help make an even better RP experience, where you've now got a mall and some houses and some shops and hotel and some business areas. The first steps to realizing a map into existence, I think, is to just get started. I know that sounds silly and really obvious, but what I mean by that is sometimes when wanting to create something, we can get trapped in the logistics in our heads. This is at least what happens with me. But other creatives I've talked to sort of have felt the same way, where sometimes you feel like, oh, I can't do this thing. Oh, this thing seems not doable for XYZ reasons. Um, Stuff like that. Uh, and sometimes, as it turns out, things can be a lot more doable than we think. Uh, and it requires basically just kind of starting. If you have an idea for a grand map design, honestly, just building a room, building a street, building a patch of forest is kind of the best way to start pushing towards that. Um, and sometimes you do realize that the thing you want to do is maybe a bit more difficult or a bit more beyond what can be done at the moment. And for that, sometimes it's good to just, rather than delete it, is to maybe back away from this and move on to a different idea. This map specifically, I started like years before I actually released it. It was an idea I had one day. Um, I had started putting the pieces together, saw that it seems to be maybe doable. Um, but I ran into some issues of there was too many brushes that wouldn't let me do sort of the custom stuff that I wanted to do to flesh out the map to the degree I was satisfied with. Um, some other optimization issues, and so I had just kind of backed away, worked on some other stuff. Some of that stuff was a bit more doable as I learned how to work with Hammer a bit more, even more, as because we're always learning. I even got Hammer Plus Plus in the time between those two moments. Started learning Hammer Plus Plus, got into proper, and was slowly able to work my way into optimizing the map to even be able to release it. Because even just releasing this, it was kind of a monumental task. The fact that it even ran on my computer, let alone anyone else's, was kind of monumental. Um, and that's sort of the same process I've done with a bunch of other maps. The transit block maps that I have are um, stuff that also just kind of started with an idea. You can find on my workshop train station district. I haven't really touched that, and I don't really plan on going back to that because, as much as I was okay-ish with that, I was like, I could do better. I can make more, and so I went and made transit block. And transit block is even more than train station district, and that's what I did. Sometimes, it's just about starting, even if it's not exactly what you want. just starting will help. Um, Joanna, I have complicated feelings on Campaign Evolved, but I do think it is a very interesting product, very interesting game, and I think if it's something that you enjoy, I think I completely get that. There's a lot to like in it, so it's a game that I think if you haven't played Halo CE before, that maybe give it a try if you want. It's not a bad introduction to the franchise. Um, I mostly focus on the 2003 leak version because there is it's a bit it's a bit easier to show where certain ideas have gone from the beta to release, because it's so close to what the release looked like. It's a lot easier to track. Plus, as other people have pointed out, it's not quite covered as much on YouTube and other circles. Um, and so I thought I would help uh, with that, with giving a bit an area that hasn't been covered all that much a bit more love. Um, the the other thing is that there is so much that needs to be talked about in terms of the early 2003, 2002, and 2001 stuff, um, that even sometimes the context needed for a lot of those ideas is a video unto themselves to fully talk about certain things with that. Um, I would like to cover more of that, but there's a lot that would need to be said to really thoroughly cover some of the subjects, which is why I've also been doing certain things piecemeal. Uh, for example, I have talked about the beta, those earlier times with stuff like when talking about the facial textures. Whoops, got to merge some vertices here. And merging that. We'll see if this. Will have issues when I compile the map. Let's do some further work here. I will say I do enjoy um, walls and props that have been smoothed out a bit more. So that is why I sometimes include extra clips. I very much appreciate how smooth it is to walk around a map in Counter Strike, for example. So that's why I am doing this. And we'll see if I can do this because clips do count towards certain face and brush counts. So might have to do more optimization on that front. And I think actually that is why I had to remove some. I think I had a clip on this wall before, and I had to remove it because of that. So we'll see. A smooth walking experience can be sacrificed if it means having the map even come out. Well, what I'll say is certain smoother experiences can be cut if needed. But we'll try. Good call, Jeffinator. Let me take a sip here. Um, yes, as I've said previously, Joanna, v- those videos are using the original actual build from the time, which is why they look like that. I don't want to shy away from the what the state of the game was for those builds, so that's why they don't look quite as the textures are a bit lower quality, and um, there are certain other widescreen issues because that is a lot of what the default settings are, or at least the usable settings are. Um, Part of that is to show how again what the state of the game was, and to show how much work Valve put into make the retail title uh, like so polished. I do that here. I did. Okay. We'll extend this out a bit. Um, Perfect. Smooth this wall out as well. And bring this over here. Let us actually smooth this out here. So that way, that. All right. This also has the added benefit of making sure people aren't on roofs I did not intend them to be. So those doors, okay, perfect. Yeah, Jeffinator. Valve, uh, as far as we're aware, basically jumped on making Half-Life 2 as soon as possible. I think based on what we've seen mentioned by the developers themselves, the there were early story ideas floating around as early as like 99. Um, as a lot of that work would end up going on to affect the expansions, the Gearbox expansions. Um, Certain plot elements from the expansions and certain character elements were brought in from work on Half Life 2. Uh, so Dr. Keller for Decay was supposed to be Dr. Kleiner originally, but because they had plans for Dr. Kleiner in Half Life 2, they had to switch out things, which is why he's got a similar but slightly different name. Um, so yeah, they really tried. They really jumped on it as quick as they could. Um, there's a couple other ones for that. The Black Mesa being nuked, also I believe, is a beta idea that made its way into the expansions. Um, yeah, a lot of surprisingly a lot of Half-Life 2 is pretty much the same from some of the earliest incarnations of the game to what was released. There was a lot of the game that continued on through the evolution of the game. Make these hedges be a bit more smoothed out like the other ones. Hmm. Might do the same with these. Yeah, let's do that. And pull this back. And do this. And bring this over here. There we go. This one I will definitely need to keep, as this is for map boundaries. This. What is the portal saying? Sometimes, when you spot a thing, it's good to just get right on it. If we can reduce the portals, these blue things for visibility, as that is generally what causes a lot of optimization issues, that would be good. So that is what we're going to do here. Whenever you have overhangs and stuff like this, if you just align it with the portals, it does make things a little easier, especially when you're trying to balance how something visually looks with portals. This we can move back as well. Keep that sealed. Okay, and that's aligned with the natural portal area. Actually, we might be able to do this. Portals as well are naturally generated among uh these like red squares. So where these red squares are highlighted is where Aviva's like zone will generally be generated at the minimum. So if you've got a wide open map, these are essentially what your Viva's squares are going to look like. So aligning those can be helpful. Any other areas? Could actually bring this down just slightly. Yeah. Let's do that. So help it be not the tallest thing, which I sort of didn't want, but it did sort of end up that way. So we'll bring this down to better fit underneath this skybox texture. And then bring that down, then bring this down. Be a little bit better. Ah, yes, we can actually do an occluder along that hedge as well. As this blocks off a number of smaller things in the park. Yes, good. The water thing. That might not be solvable because water cannot be a brush entity. That is a bit of a mess. But I've experimented and couldn't find any ways to really solve that. This, however, could probably actually be extended a bit. Over to here, actually. Actually, maybe even all the way over. That would be better than having that, I think. And then we can maybe bring this back over here. And yeah, there we go. More portaling might be done later. So let's just unload that for now. Okay. We'll look more in here. We can probably smooth out some of this too. Um, yeah, we'll smooth that out. And nice. What about this? What about these walls? No. The hotel interior, though, might need it. Let's just take a double check here. I think that's good for now. What about in here? This little utility area. Okay, most of this was done by Valve. Same thing with all this. I'll have to consider some extra visual flair to some of these areas. Ah, but that is a good occlusion area. Actually, some of these hedges might be too. this up. To match the ground. And we'll just resize this. And then we'll do these hedges along the mall entrance here. Sorry, the Capel's entrance. And oh, there we go. And bring this down. We'll do it for the big ones. So these like 3 stacks. You can even do it for this 2 stack here. And those are just right up against the wall. That one might definitely need it, given its ability to look into that parking lot. Then we'll just align it with the brush walls. There we go. That'll help optimize that area, I think. We might need to lower it a bit, though. Just fine. I think. Aiden, I managed to. So I did the blunt thing, which was basically just take Left 4 Dead 2's textures from Left 4 Dead 2 and then just put them in Gary's mod to work with them. Um, if you don't want to pack the textures later on, mounting it will still be needed in the game for other people. But just working with them, that's what I did. Um, yeah, that's how I managed to do that. I've done that with a bunch of the other Valve titles, except for Team Fortress 2, as Team Fortress 2's various uh, as Team Fortress 2's various textures actually do conflict with some Half-Life and other maps. Oh, thank you, Kazi GB. I appreciate it. I will attempt to keep making more cool stuff, and hopefully stuff that is optimized. Um, I am having a splendid day so far. I hope you are as well, Jeffinator, and I hope everyone else is also having a splendid day. Um, For me, Aiden, well, so you have to the models and textures, as with all Valve games in Source One, are packed. They're packed into pack files, um, and you have to go into those and pull them out. Um, so that's where I grabbed them from, and that's where you'll be able to grab all the other ones. Ma- the materials and models folders in um, Gmod are where you'll put them. Oh wow, Joanna, that's very late. Very far in. Understandable, Kazi. Hope you have a good time out there. Uh, I hope you enjoy the Nova Prospect maps. I did fix an issue on one of them recently, so hopefully it'll be a little bit better. Uh, I am so sorry to hear that, Jeffinator. Hopefully I can provide a little better time here, working on certain maps here for Gmod. And I do hope that everything does get better soon. Just going to do this. Put more of these occluders in here. Oh, actually, might have a new space for these guys. Um, this down here so we can get these ones done. Sure, Joanna. Uh, Understandable. If it's 1 in the morning, that is very late indeed. Throw this in here. Keep getting more occluders in to hopefully block out more entities. We can even do these ones looking at the highway. Optimize the highway a bit more, which is going to be needed since it's such a wide open space. these ones too. And we'll do these sets of hedges here. Uh, there are some really interesting maps made with just dev textures. Um, heck, Valve has some themselves that I find very interesting. Um, I haven't shown it off yet, but there's a couple. I haven't shown all of them off yet, but I have found a couple of like dev beta maps that are really interesting. Um, and they're mostly composed of dev textures. Um, what I will say is that a dev texture map does have to really have gameplay that is high caliber because it's missing some of those visual elements. But I definitely think I've definitely found some maps that are interesting with just dev textures, and definitely think that there are some out there that and those can be made. If anyone is working on a map right now with dev textures, you can definitely put that up with and have it be very interesting. Dev textures are very good at really highlighting the gameplay of things. So there is that benefit to them. Um, because because everything's packed, Aiden, um, you're not actually taking any of those textures out. Every instance, well, yeah, every time you extract something from a packed file, it's essentially just copying it. You're not actually removing it. Um, so when you extract it, it's just a copy and paste job already, and you can just directly select Gary's mods folders. I I get the reference, Joanna. um, funny enough, I believe that line. Yes, no, that line is said for Swamp Fever, which I think might actually also be a mergeable set of maps. I think I'd have to double check. And bring this over here, and I think that works. Always make sure to save when you're working on Hammer. Always do that. Heck, even if you're doing something creative in another program, make sure to save. It's important to save. Oh, uh, okay. Have a good night, Jeff. Hope things go better. Um, and I hope to see you soon. I'll keep drinking more water. Yes, and it was good to see you. I might actually also consider winding down. I've done a good chunk of the occluding I wanted to do. Found a couple of other things I wanted to do. Um, yeah. Uh, so yeah. Uh, that was the first little bit of work on the dead center pre-infection map on optimizing it. It was lovely to see everyone. I hope everyone has a good weekend and better days ahead. Hope everyone stays cool. Uh, as I heard, Czechia is at 40 Celsius, which that is a lot. So I hope everyone is staying inside and staying cool. Uh, hope everyone does well. Thank you, Joanna. And I'll catch everyone soon. Take care. Jeff, I will be here next Friday again. And to everyone else, we'll be next Friday again. About the same time frame ish. Hopefully, maybe a bit earlier. We'll see. But it will be about the same time frame. And that is roughly when I plan to keep doing it. Just had an issue last week. Splendid month to everyone.